You can't become a man while still holding on to the habits, mindset, and excuses of a boy. That's the truth a lot of people run from, but running doesn't change reality. Growing up isn't just about age. It's about transformation. It's about putting childish things behind and stepping into something stronger, wiser, and more capable. The boy in you is that part that clings to comfort. He loves shortcuts. He hates accountability. He wants life to be fun and easy, and the moment things get hard, he shuts down. That boy will keep you stuck if you let him lead. He'll have you blaming everybody else for your problems while avoiding the hard conversations you need to have with yourself. Now, the thing about that boy is he's not evil. He's just immature. He was shaped by fear, disappointment, and a desire to be protected. But at some point, protection becomes limitation. The boy in you was necessary for a season. He helped you survive when you didn't know better. But survival mode and manhood don't mix. One is about getting by. The other is about building, leading, and sacrificing. You can't build a life, lead a family, or walk in purpose with a little boy's mindset. The boy hides from pressure. The man gets under it and learns how to carry it. A lot of men are grown in body but not in mind. They look like men on the outside, but inside they're still boys. Easily offended, emotionally unavailable, afraid of failure, always chasing validation. The boy wants to be celebrated before he's done anything. He wants credit without effort. But a man knows that credit comes after consistency. The man understands that no one owes him applause just for showing up. He's not there for praise. He's there to produce. And he produces whether the lights are on him or not. You see, maturity isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. A man is honest enough to say, I'm scared, but I'll try anyway. A boy hides behind pride and says, I don't care, when deep down, he's just afraid of losing. The man takes responsibility for his actions. The boy plays the victim. The man plans, the boy reacts. The man learns, the boy deflects. These differences are subtle, but they shape everything. Your relationships, your career, your character, every area of life is affected by whether you're showing up as a man or a boy. And here's the tricky part. The boy doesn't just disappear because you want him to. You have to kill him daily. That means confronting the part of you that's still waiting to be rescued. That means rejecting laziness, entitlement, and passivity every single day. That means choosing discipline over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and long-term growth over short-term gratification. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily fight, but it's a fight worth having. Becoming a man isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about looking in the mirror and knowing that you're not running anymore, that you're not blaming anymore, that you're finally ready to step up, take ownership, and lead your life with strength and purpose. That's when the boy dies and the man is born. A boy seeks comfort. That's just how he's wired. He wants things to be easy, fun, and effortless. He wants to feel good all the time, avoid pain, and skip the hard parts. If it gets too difficult, he'll quit. If it doesn't feel good, he'll complain. The boy in you is always looking for the shortcut, always running from pressure, always chasing instant gratification. But that mindset doesn't work in the real world. Life is not built for comfort, it's built for growth. And growth comes through discomfort, responsibility, and sacrifice. That's the space where men are made. A man embraces responsibility. He doesn't just carry his own weight, he carries the weight of others too. That's what real manhood is about. It's not about how much money you make or how many people you impress. It's about how well you handle responsibility when nobody's clapping for you. A man wakes up early when he'd rather sleep. He keeps working when it's boring. He stays loyal when it's tough. He listens when he wants to shout. He leads when it's uncomfortable. That's not glamorous, but it's necessary. That's what separates the man from the boy. The boy avoids anything that feels heavy. He doesn't want to be held accountable. He thinks being a man means doing whatever he wants, whenever he wants. But real men know better. Real men understand that freedom without discipline is chaos. A man doesn't look for the easy way, he looks for the right way. He knows that every choice has consequences, and he accepts those consequences without making excuses. He knows his decisions affect more than just him. And he carries that weight with honor. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a blessing. It means people trust you. It means you matter. But it also means you don't get to tap out just because you feel tired. Boys quit. Men push through. Boys ghost people when things get hard. Men have hard conversations. Boys run from failure. Men use failure as fuel. There's no shortcut to becoming that kind of man. It's earned. And the only currency accepted is consistency, accountability, and self. You'll know you're stepping into manhood when you stop needing permission to do the right thing. The boy needs someone to tell him what to do. The man just does it. The boy waits until he feels like it. The man moves whether he feels like it or not, because he understands something simple but powerful. Your feelings don't determine your responsibilities. Just because you don't feel motivated doesn't mean you don't move. The man moves anyway. And let's be real. Sometimes being a man is lonely. Sometimes you'll carry things people don't even know about. You'll be strong for people who never say thank you. You'll protect people who don't see the battle you're fighting. But that's the job. That's the calling. And it's a calling worth rising to. If you want to grow, you've got to stop chasing comfort and start chasing character. Because comfort never changed anybody. Comfort makes you soft. Pressure makes you stronger. And every time you choose responsibility over comfort, you kill a little bit of that boy in you and make room for the man you're becoming. Every time you do the hard thing when no one's watching, you level up. You don't need applause. You don't need a trophy. You just need to show up, do the work, and keep moving forward, day in and day out. That's how men are built. That's how legacies are made. Excuses don't build legacies. They build regret, they build resentment, and they build a life of coulda, woulda, and shoulda. That's not how men are remembered. That's not how greatness is made. Excuses are what boys use to stay the same. They use them to cover up fear, to avoid growth, to shift blame, and to protect their ego. But a man understands that excuses are the enemy of progress. He knows that every time he makes an excuse, he gives away his power to change, to improve, to rise above. See, a boy thinks life owes him something. He thinks the world should be fair, so when it's not, he complains. He points fingers. He plays the victim. He says things like, I can't do that because my parents didn't raise me right, or I would have been successful if only someone gave me a shot. And sure, life throws real obstacles at people. Not everybody starts from the same place. Some people have it harder than others. But here's the truth. Your starting point is not your final destination unless you decide to stay there. And the decision to stay there is often fueled by excuses. A man knows the odds might be stacked against him, and he gets to work anyway. He knows he doesn't have all the advantages, and he grinds anyway. He understands that nobody's going to hand him a legacy. He has to build it, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. And there's no room for excuses in that process, because excuses don't pay the bills. Excuses don't raise children. Excuses don't keep a marriage strong. Excuses don't turn a dream into a reality. Only action does. Every time you make an excuse, you delay your future. You give yourself permission to stay average. And average is easy. That's why it's crowded there. But greatness, that requires honesty. That requires looking at your life and saying, I didn't handle that right, or I was lazy, or I've been hiding behind my past for too long. That's not weakness, that's power. Because when you own it, you can change it. And that's what real men do. They stop blaming and start building. The hard truth is this: no one cares about your excuses. The world measures results. People respect action. You could have all the reasons in the world why you didn't show up, why you didn't finish, why you didn't keep your word, but at the end of the day, results speak louder than reasons. And deep down you know that. That's why excuses never feel good. They might give you comfort in the moment, but they leave you empty in the long run. They leave you stuck watching other people live the life you were capable of living but never stepped into. You can either make progress or make excuses, but you can't do both. And every man has to make that choice, not just once, but every single day. When it's early in the morning and your bed feels warm, are you making an excuse or are you making moves? When you fail at something, are you blaming the situation or are you learning from it and getting back in the game? That's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who do. Men who leave a mark on this world do it because they took full ownership of their journey. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't whine when it got hard. They didn't look for someone to blame. They looked in the mirror, took a deep breath, and went to work. That's how you kill the boy. That's how the man is born. Not in comfort, not in excuses, but in responsibility and action. Discipline is the foundation of manhood. Without it, you can have all the potential in the world and still end up with nothing to show for it. Discipline is what separates the man who talks from the man who delivers. It's what builds consistency, what strengthens character, and what allows a man to keep showing up when motivation has long run out. See, motivation comes and goes. It's a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. But discipline shows up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline doesn't ask how you're feeling. It demands that you do what's necessary. A boy does what he wants. A man does what he has to. That's the difference. A boy wakes up and checks how he feels. If he feels lazy, he acts lazy. If he feels discouraged, he quits. But a man knows that his feelings don't run the show. His mission does. A man has goals, purpose, responsibilities. He understands that his actions need to match his ambition. Wanting a better life, you've got to have the discipline to build it brick by brick, day by day, even when no one's watching and nobody's clapping. Discipline teaches you to master yourself. And until you learn to master yourself, you will always be a slave to your impulses. Whether it's food, money, sex, entertainment, or comfort, if you don't control it, it controls you. And when you let your desires control you, you make choices that cost you your future. A man with no discipline might have talent, but talent without control is wasted. Discipline is what takes a man's potential and turns it into power. It sharpens his edges. It strengthens his will. It keeps him grounded when life tries to shake him. Every great man you admire, he's not where he is just because he's gifted. He's there because he's disciplined. He did the reps when it wasn't fun. He stayed focused when others were distracted. He kept his word when it would have been easier to walk away. That's what discipline does. It builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you prove that you can be counted on, that you're dependable, that you're not ruled by weakness or driven by excuses. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about repetition. It's about showing up over and over again. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel broken. But the discipline keeps you steady. It's like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. You might start small, waking up earlier, keeping your word, hitting the gym, saving money. But those small actions add up. They build momentum. They shape your identity. Before long, you're not just doing disciplined things. You've become a disciplined man. And here's the part most people miss. Discipline creates freedom. That might sound backwards, but it's the truth. When you're disciplined with your time, you get more of it. When you're disciplined with your money, you create options. When you're disciplined in your habits, you build stability. Discipline gives you control over your life. It lets you move with purpose instead of chaos. It lets you lead, not follow. It lets you make decisions from a place of strength, not desperation. There's no fast track to manhood. You don't become a man because of your age. You become a man when you learn to govern yourself, when you stop waiting to feel ready, when you stop making decisions based on convenience, when you rise above distractions and get laser focused on your mission. That's discipline, and that's what makes a man unshakable, not just on good days, but especially on the hard ones. Because the man who's mastered discipline can be stopped not by fear, not by failure, not by fatigue. He's locked in, he's built different, and he earns everything he gets. Nobody's coming to save you. That's the truth a lot of people don't want to hear, but it's the truth that sets you free. See, when you're young or stuck in a boy's mindset, you keep waiting for someone to show up and fix it, waiting for someone to believe in you, push you, fund your dream, give you a second chance. But life doesn't work that way. You keep waiting, and all that happens is time keeps passing. You stay stuck, frustrated, and full of potential that never gets used, because the longer you wait for a rescue, the longer you delay your own rise. A boy sits in a broken situation hoping somebody else will come along and fix it. A man looks around, sees the mess, and says, "It's on me." That's not arrogance. That's ownership. That's power. That's maturity. Because when you realize that no one is coming to rescue you, you stop feeling helpless and you start feeling responsible. And once you start feeling responsible, you become powerful. You realize that you've had the tools in your hands the whole time. You were just too busy looking around to notice. No one's going to wake you up early. No one's going to force you to stay focused. No one's going to walk you through your goals every day and hold your hand until you succeed. That's your job. That's what manhood requires. There's no lifeguard coming to pull you out of deep water. You have to learn how to swim. You have to learn how to breathe when life feels heavy. You have to train your mind to keep moving forward, even when everything in you wants to quit. And that kind of strength isn't built in comfort. It's built in reality. You may have had a hard childhood. You may have been dealt a bad hand. You may have been hurt, abandoned, rejected, or overlooked. That's real and it matters. But what matters even more is what you decide to do with all that pain. You can carry it like a burden, or you can use it like fuel, because the moment you stop waiting for somebody to fix what they broke in you and start building yourself from the pieces they left, that's when the real transformation begins. That's when the boy starts to fade and the man begins to rise. This world respects results, not excuses. It doesn't care who hurt you, it cares how you healed. It doesn't care how many times you failed, it cares whether you stood back up. The truth is, some people are never going to apologize. Some doors are never going to open. Some people who could help you won't. And the longer you sit around hoping they do, the more life passes you by. So get up, wipe your face, straighten your back, and move. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary, because it's time. You don't need saving, you need strength. You don't need a handout, you need a plan. You don't need permission, you need grit. And the beautiful thing is, you've already got everything you need inside you. You've got the power to change your life. You've got the ability to learn, grow, and adapt. You've got the capacity to become everything they said you couldn't be. But it starts when you stop waiting for someone else to do it for you. You're not a victim. You're not broken beyond repair. You're not hopeless. You're just untrained, untested, and maybe a little unsure. But that changes the moment you take responsibility for your future. That's the real difference between a boy and a man. A boy waits. A man works. A boy complains. A man creates. A boy leans on others. A man learns to stand on his own because he knows deep down nobody's coming to save him. And that's exactly why he saves himself. Letting the man be born isn't a one-time event. It's a daily choice. It's not something you wake up one morning and decide and then never have to deal with again. It's not a speech. It's not a moment. It's not a finish line. Manhood is a process. It's a decision you have to keep making every single day of your life. Every morning when you open your eyes, the boy in you is still there, whispering, tempting, pulling. He wants you to take the easy way. He wants you to relax, to run from pressure, to blame someone else. But the man in you has to rise up and silence him again and again. You don't become a man because you said so once. You become a man because you keep proving it with your actions. Every day, you're either feeding the boy or feeding the man. And the one you feed the most is the one that grows. The boy wants comfort. The man chooses growth. The boy wants to be liked. The man stands on truth. The boy wants to play. The man builds. This isn't about hating who you used to be. It's about refusing to let that version of you run your life anymore. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll feel weak. And that's okay. Being a man doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you keep going even when you struggle. It means you choose to show up with character, with discipline, and with responsibility when you'd rather check out. Some mornings you'll wake up with fire in your belly. Other mornings you have to drag yourself out of bed. But the decision remains the same. Kill the boy, let the man live. Again and again and again. Being a man is a lifestyle. It's not a title someone gives you. It's not defined by how much money you make or how many people call you sir. It's defined by how consistent you are in the dark, when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, when there's no applause. What do you do then? That's when the boy wants to come back. That's when the boy wants to convince you that skipping a day won't hurt, that slacking off just once won't matter. But it does, because the boy is always looking for a way back in. And the second you stop choosing the man, the boy starts gaining ground again. There's no graduation ceremony for manhood. You never arrive. You just keep choosing strength over weakness, leadership over laziness, sacrifice over selfishness. You keep choosing to be better than the day before. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being faithful. It's about showing up when it's boring, when it's frustrating, when it's uncomfortable. It's about keeping your word, honoring your commitments, and carrying your responsibilities like a man. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. And the truth is, this world doesn't need more boys in grown man bodies. It doesn't need more people running from pain, blaming others, or quitting when it's hard. It needs men who are willing to choose the hard path. Men who are willing to lead their families, build their futures, and serve their purpose with grit, humility, and consistency. That kind of man doesn't show up by accident. He's built day by day, choice by choice, battle by battle. So when life knocks you down, when doubt creeps in, when fear grabs hold, remember, this isn't a setback. It's another chance to choose, another chance to kill the boy, another chance to let the man be born, not just once, but every day. That's what makes you a man. Not the one-time decision, but the decision you make again and again, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when no one sees it. Because manhood is earned daily, and it's always your move.